Hello and nice to meet you all. Welcome to the Zero Waste Now channel on YouTube. Today I'll talk about my journey over the last 4 years, from the first year of my master's degree in design management in Bezalel to the present day. In this journey I chose to be a responsible designer and engage in sustainability. It is a very wide-ranging issue consisting of 3 sectors with different needs which do not always know how to communicate with each other: the consumers, the industry and the government. I decided to give in this talk a glimpse into 4 projects of mine, hoping to give a broad picture of the world of sustainability as I see it from my own point of view as an industrial designer. I'll show you how I use design thinking tools to drive environmental initiatives and characterize product development processes in a circular economy. If you're interested in that content, please give me thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel Zero Waste Now here or here. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. My entry point to the world of sustainability began in the first year of my master's degree in design management in Bezalel when I started talking trash. Which means when I started working as a design researcher in a study by Dr. Michelle Portman at the Department of Architecture and Urban Planning in the Technion. We examined the relationships between beachgoers with trash cans on the beach. It was a study that combined design research with qualitative and quantitative methods. We put 2 prototypes on the beach in order to test which one of them is more effectively motivating beachgoers to litter less. One day we saw a woman placing her backpack on the orange trash can. This of course would never have happened with the trash can you see on the right image. It is a standard on beaches in Israel, and especially during the peak periods it looks like this. This brought me to one of the most important insights of the research. In order to raise awareness of cleanliness and environmental issues, we need people to have closer relationships with trash cans. This research led me to decide that I want to dedicate my career to sustainability, so I was constantly looking for a way into the ecosystem. Up until recently, my day was divided between 3 areas. 15% of my time was devoted to environmental volunteer initiatives, about 60% to strategic consulting, design research and ideation workshops on social and environmental issues, and 35% were devoted to my startup, and I'll talk about these 3 today. The day I started noticing the trash around me, my life had changed. I was walking down the street near my house, feeling upset by the huge garbage piles that were waiting to be collected on every street corner. We have just moved to a new apartment in Pardes Chana, which is a small town in the north of Israel, and I have 2 children, which were then 5-year-old and 1-year-old, and I couldn't find a public space that was pleasant enough for us to stay for a long period of time. As we learned in the Masters, I understood that this pain point can become an opportunity area if I could just harness the right partners to help me. So I took advantage of marketing course to write down a marketing plan for a food, forest and community garden, which is called now the Birds Community Garden. And I presented the plan to council representatives in a tight presentation. The council members were enthusiastic and provided a funding for the first public participation process in Pardes Chana. This move taught me a lot about my abilities as a resident and as a designer to manage large-scale projects with the council, and today I'm already running my 3rd environmental initiatives in my hometown and working on a toolbox for growing residents' environmental initiatives. The first thing I did was to set up an activist group and organize a council-funded food forest planning course to gather all the people who loved food and nature and gardening around me. We developed a professional course of 12 sessions, of which in the last 2 sessions I facilitated an ideation workshop that moderated between the desires and needs of the residents and stakeholders in the council. We listed the 3 most important values for us, built around an activity schedule, and sketched an architectural plan of the food forest. The use of design thinking methods helped improve the communication between the residents and the council, and have a productive discussion that produced an annual event plan and physical planning of the area. The whole 20 acres were designed out of listening to the residents. These are some of the products obtained from the process. The residents feel more connected to the area and therefore they litter less, and they come regularly to maintain the area and eat from the garden and forest produce. The council pays local operators to carry out community development activities such as building a greenhouse or a bench for recycled materials. These activities produce community resilience and they bring different populations closer together in and out of the neighborhood. The resident initiatives are my engine, and beyond making me feel like I belong where I live, they are a great space for practicing design thinking methods. That is why I always strongly recommend finding a topic that is close to your heart and devoting a certain amount of time in your life for voluntary activities. The second topic I practiced started from graduation project, which offered a development process for sustainable food packaging. During the research, I interviewed two extreme consumers. One of them is Irena Stupak, who later invites me to be a co-manager of a Facebook group called Zero Waste Israel. The group had then 300 members when I joined it, and today it has more than 40,000 members, which is considered quite a big group in the Hebrew-speaking side of the world. Engaging in Facebook group and community activities helped me formulate consumer insights on environmental issues, which I bring to work with industrial manufacturers, thus helping them better understand their consumers. During the final project, I made contact with a major food manufacturer in Israel who was willing to pilot my research on one of his products. We'll call it Food to Go. Interviews with stakeholders along the value chain have led me to the insight that the main challenge for the food manufacturers is the built-in conflict between the marketing department and the operations department. The marketing department is affected by social protests and various consumer trends that come and go, such as health awareness, and it speaks in market shares, while the operation department is affected by deflation and price increase of raw materials, and it speaks in shekels or dollars. Along the way, I find that this challenge also applies to other consumer goods manufacturers across the industry and not just to packaging. This is the value chain in the packaging development process at the food manufacturer. Each stakeholder is responsible for a different link, and he knows exactly what his job is but does not know well enough what his colleagues are doing. It is a complex and a long process, which is why it is riddled with information and knowledge gaps between the various factors inside and outside food manufacturers. The study offers a methodological working model that moderates between the different stakeholders in the packaging process by identifying opportunity areas, visualizing the value chain, and providing design thinking tools that will help develop environmental solutions that are both economical and can add value to the consumer. I offer a collaborative process, setting up a development team of marketing, environmental or CSR, innovation, and packaging development managers, starting together from the first stage, which is the concept development stage. In order to put everyone on the same page, I created this orientation map that sits on the development team's desktop. First of all, they'll visually notice the closure of the loop. Secondly, it has design thinking exercises that fit every different link, which would create quick and inexpensive iterations and help bridge the different perceptions of the stakeholders, most of which are processes that are already happening at the food manufacturer. Therefore, it's easier to introduce them to design thinking exercises. These are some examples of the tools and products I started developing with the model. Today, I develop each project other tools depending on the nature of the project, the organization I work with, and the product it is developing. At Food to Go, we conducted a study that examined the amount of raw materials and packagings of competitors and the nature of the markings associated with recycling and environmental awareness. We wanted to use personas to encourage participants in an ideation workshop to come up with valuable solutions for the consumer which would also reduce the use of raw materials. To the left, you can see various sketching techniques of food to go, suitable for different uses by different personas, which also offer a more sustainable packaging. The pilot with the food manufacturer I worked with was interrupted in the middle due to changes in the organizational structure, so we had to shut it down, although I got good feedbacks about it. So I took a deep breath and went to apply what I learned in a new project of my own. I enlisted myself to the JVP VC Hackathon for environmental packaging. I joined a multidisciplinary team. We had 24 hours to develop an idea for a product, and it was another opportunity to practice moderating between partners from different disciplines. At 5 p.m. after brainstorming session and a little bit of sketching, we designed the winning product, a garlic packaging that is made out of garlic skins, and that took us to the second place. Winning helped us get accepted to Accelerate, which is an accelerator for food tech and ag tech up north in Kiryat Shmona. Unfortunately, my partners retired, each of his own reasons, and I decided to focus on compostable packaging solutions made out of agricultural waste. At the end of this year, I stand in front of an audience of 200 investors and stakeholders in the ecosystem and deliver a 3-minute pitch, hoping that someone will be interested in my startup. Luckily, I was approached by a mega incubator, which helped me finance a patent review. And sadly, we found out that the material would probably not be economical or effective enough to manufacture. But don't worry, I'm already working on something else that is related to agro-waste, and I'll be happy to share when possible. The master's degree helped me reinvent myself. This is how I see my role as a responsible industrial designer for sustainability. I connect different ends of the system and help them conduct a productive discussion with each other that leads to services, technologies, and products that can change our environment for the better. If you like this content, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel down below. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much.